Okay, welcome to the final sexual skill video of level 1 of Pillow Play, and this one is all about talking dirty. Now this is something that so many people struggle with. They feel really uncomfortable and embarrassed talking dirty either inside or outside the bedroom. So here are my top tips for talking dirty and overcoming that discomfort and giving it a go, because it's a really great skill, not just because it's hot and it turns people on, although that's a very good reason in and of itself. It's, builds arousal and it builds pleasure, but also it's great for presence. It helps keep people really present and in the moment. It's also great for giving feedback in a dirtier and more seductive way. It's great for checking in and getting consent. It's great for helping your partner feel comfortable and make them feel desired. And it's helpful for giving feedback, both positive and constructive as well. So we can use it for all sorts of things, not just turning each other on. So here are some tips of how to do it. And then the game in this section is called Like That, but Sexier, which is such a fun game to play together, even if you're dirty talk pros or you've never given it a go. Just start having these sorts of conversations and just laugh and be silly and practice finding your erotic voice. Dirty talk tip number 1 is start non-verbally. So get noisy. Start without trying to find words, and instead, if you masturbate, self-pleasure, or have sex really silently, as so many people do, because you learn to hold it in because of people next door or sexual shame or not wanting to get caught, then over time you might hold on to that old habit and still really struggle to make noise during sex. So start by making authentic noises of pleasure. Whether it's sighing, moaning, screaming, growling, laughing, it really doesn't matter. Encourage yourself and your partner to let loose, express yourself and make noise, and say things like, "Let me hear you." Tip number 2 is try writing it down. So if you struggle saying dirty talk in the moment, it might be a lot easier to find your language by writing it down first. So for example, sexting, sending each other dirty little messages on phone through phone sex, or just texting each other throughout the day. It's also great to do writing of different fantasies and stories, and there's actually a worksheet called Erotic Storytelling in level 3. And it's often easier to come up with these fantasies, these dirty talk phrases on writing first, and sort of test out, how do we like to talk together when we are being dirty? And then you can eventually, when you're feeling comfortable, bring it into real life. Tip 3 is saying nice things. Dirty talk doesn't actually have to be dirty. It can actually just start with compliments. Things like, "You look so beautiful when you do that," or "Oh my God, you're so sexy," right? We can just actually compliment our partners, and with the right, which I'll talk about in a moment, the right tone of voice and eye contact and things like that, it's still dirty talk. It doesn't need to be filthy to still really land beautifully. You can also just use dirty talk to describe what's feeling really good in the moment. And what I mean by that, it's sort of not like narrating what's happening, but sort of, "Oh, your lips feel so good when you do that," or "Oh wow, that touch feels incredible," right? You're describing what you can actually feel and describing what's going on in the moment. That's giving great feedback, but also it's helping you both stay present to what it does actually feel like. It's really helpful to bring someone out of their head and back into the present moment. Tip 4, it's actually often less about what you say and more about how you say it. So eye contact, body language, tone of voice, presence. Right? You could say the exact same thing 100 different, well, maybe not 100 different ways, maybe, and have very different impact on how that dirty talk lands. So in the game, in a second, you'll have a chance to practice this, and you can play with eye contact, you can play with tone of voice, you can play with non-verbal sounds to try and make it as dirty and as sexy as possible, and be okay with laughing and getting it a bit wrong. That's why we're practicing it, and also what makes it so fun. And playing with tone of voice really helps you play with what energy you want to put out to your partner. So for example, saying, "Oh, that feels so good." You could be like, "Oh, that feels so good," or in like a sort of playful way. Or you could say like, oh, that feels so good, in like a dommy, powerful way. So you can put out what energy you want depending on your tone of voice. Tip 6 is turn off the lights. If it feels less awkward to do dirty talk when they can't see you, just turn out the lights. Also, you could try whispering dirty talk into their ear, or in any other situations where you don't have to have eye contact and see each other. For example, if they're wearing a blindfold or you're in positions where you can't see each other as well, it can feel a little less intimidating. You can also use dirty talk to get consent. Whoever said that asking for consent isn't sexy is just wrong, because asking for consent is so sexy. So for example, like a really well-spoken, may I kiss you? Or if you want to again play with erotic energy and things like playing with power, you could say things like, I'm only going to spank you when you beg for it, right? So you can use dirty talk to make sure that that person wants the thing by making them ask you. Or you could say things like, you know, move my hand exactly where you want it. Again, that's getting consent. Or tell me exactly what you want. I don't know why I'm sounding so dominant in all of these. But the idea is you can use dirty talk to get consent from someone, and the myth that getting consent needs to somehow ruin the flow in sex is so wrong. It can actually really enhance the moment further, because not only is that person feeling really safe and really respected, but also really aroused.